All right, so as we walk into the urban village, we can just see how dense, how full of life it is, how many different types of shops you can find in here. It's really, actually a really incredible example of, I would say, an urban environment and human ingenuity and human adaptability. Because, hey, you have everything you need in a very, very small, compact, dense place like this. And I don't know, I think it might be kind of a difficult place to live, but also a very lively place to live. It's really amazing though how much life is actually outside of the home, outside of the building. People might say it's messy, people might say it's a slum, but it's actually, it's relatively well taken care of. It's not like garbage everywhere, it's not a big mess. It's just a place where there's lots of life and people all kind of crammed together. One thing about China that I gotta say is, even in the most poor places in China, they're still very, very safe. And you don't have a lot of people like robbing you, committing crimes on you. Of course, I say that, but all the buildings, all the windows, they all have cages on them. Even as you go up, that's because the buildings are so close to each other. So, there must be some concern about thieves crossing over from one building to the next, jumping across and stealing your stuff. But I think for the most part, in a community like this, you're absolutely not going to get, beat up. I have no fear walking around here like I would in perhaps a similar like slum type area in another country. It's not just China though. Like, I've been to poor parts of a lot of countries in East Asia and Southeast Asia, and I would say it's all very, very similar in the sense that, like, you're not going to be hurt or attacked or stolen from. Definitely won't be robbed. Nobody's going to physically have an altercation with you just for visiting their neighborhood. It's not like your turf, it's not like a like you see in America. So here you can see all these e-bike parking. They have public chargers. So you just come here, you plug your bike in right here, and scan the QR code, and you just pay with WeChat. So that keeps the chargers, the batteries out of the houses. It prevents fires from, battery fires. So hopefully make it safer. When you compare it to like a typical xiaoqu, and again, a xiaoqu is just like an apartment kind of block that's mostly, almost entirely residential with maybe a little bit of commercial. This is much more lively because those kind of xiaoqu are usually, maybe people will be hanging out like at night in like a central area, or maybe there will be an area for like sports, athletics, maybe a ping pong table. But for the most part, those kind of typical xiaoqu are really, really quiet. Here's more like a living, breathing city. So even here on the walls, we have some really, really, really cool art and really interesting, beautiful. So I do love these kind of places. I like to take walks in here, especially on a bright, sunny day when you have really, really harsh shadows because of how, of course, how dense it is. There's not a lot of sunlight. It's great for taking photographs. Here in Guangzhou and like Foshan and Dongguan, all great places if you're into street photography and these kinds of really, really beautiful, fascinating places. Like even right now, look at how amazing the shadows are. And it's an overcast day. Look how dark it is. So of course, again, it's really great that young kids can walk to school, no fear of strangers. They're not with their parents. They walk to and from school. And, you know, everybody kind of looks out for each other. In all the neighborhoods in China and Shenzhen, there's not a lot of fear of stranger danger. Kids are walking around the city, taking the subway, all around. But even here, especially here, you know, it's like no big deal to see little kids hanging out by themselves. Here we have Mala Liang Cai. Here's another fried kebab kind of place. Hello. Huh?
How are you?
很好。你的背包开了，打开了。我帮你。
Thank you.
不用去。OK， 可以了。